And here's just cleanup. So yeah, overall, I think it's just a matter of paying attention to where to not going too aggressive. I think that's the biggest thing that you're seeing right now. That Pharah was being played, like the Widow, you had really good positioning for the most part, and you know people are still adjusting to that new Mercy gameplay, so I can't blame you for being a little far forward when that soldier got rezzed. And actually, what I want everybody to watch is because we're coming up to a point where there's going to be a lot of long range dueling. There's going to be a Widow, and I want you to watch this man here. This man here is going to be a big deciding factor, and it's going to make a big difference in the upcoming Widow battle. And the team comp looks fine again. I mean, it's a standard 2-2-2, but you can put on a lot of pressure when they come close. Have something to deal with if they have a Pharah. Just a little bit of IRL coming in. Groove into some tunes. I like it. Okay, so you're doing exactly what I like to do. Stand there and you go, is their Widow silly enough to go and walk up to the doors before the match starts? I think that's a valid thing to do. Yeah, we don't see anything. Not a lot is going to happen with fancy artwork on the walls. Okay, so yes, we see a Widow here, so it's gonna... Oh, no, it's a Junkrat. Never mind. They kind of have a weird comp going. They have a Junkrat, Widowmaker, Reinhardt, so it's just gonna make your shield die quickly, and yeah. That's just gonna happen. I think the whole point of this is less a you thing that you can control because it's the Reinhardt. When I play Reinhardt and I want to try and do stuff like that, I instead of being here, so we'll just draw out the map again. So then there's you have the choke point here, and you have Mondata. Two guys, hey Bundy, how's it going? We're looking over some of Keith Clark's footage. So you have Mondata and the little kid. And so this is the hotel here. It has nice sight lines onto the hotel. This is really not to scale. And then you have where your Reinhardt's defending here. So the big problem is their Junkrat is just lobbing bombs in shield from here. Widow's standing up here. See right through as soon as that shield breaks. If you wanted to hold a better defense, I would say move the Reinhardt back to here, just behind the point. And then that Widowmaker no longer will have that line of sight, and the Junkrat can't stand by the bus and just like wreck your shield. Anyways, this is just more general thing, less a Clark mistake and more a just mistake. And yeah, this is good here going into hotel when you know that you're obviously going to get your head picked off going main. coming back as McCree. Your team seems to have it under control again. But the one thing that I would say to notice here already is that Widow was pretty uncontested that whole fight. And the Genji kind of just poked at their main team instead of making sure that Widow can't do her job. Like, the Genji is paying too much attention to getting the support kills versus getting the Widow. The Widow should be the priority at this. And we're going to see that become a big factor in the later rounds. This round. Yeah, I think defending Hotel would have been the best bet comp that they had, but it's a little too late. I don't think you could have rolled over fast enough and been able to tell the whole team that. And the counter Widow pick here is good because the Genji isn't really touching their Widow at all. They're giving lazy other Widow just so much room, like free shots. And I think you should just let them have this area until you regroup. I think that was kind of a weird point about walking up there was that they had all the room in the world and you didn't have a team with you to push, so you were just in the open. Yeah, see, again, they did what Lacey did exactly what you did like 30 seconds earlier. Oh, I don't have a team. I'm just gonna push up here, and then just gets decimated. It's caught out in the. Yeah, again, backing up. Yeah, holding this corner is fine. But yeah, I wouldn't have, if it was just a single corner that you're hiding behind instead of the two, I would say that. But again, Widow Mine. I love this. This is why your Widow Mine positioning is good in that Widow duel scenario. Is because look at that. You get the Widow Mine onto the Widow. Makes for an easy Widow duel, right? Boom. Yeah, and then see, this is another point where you were doing exactly like just being a little too far behind their team, I think. Because look at, see the Mercy and you're like, okay, I can shoot the Mercy. But then boom. What are these big glowing bombs of death? Yeah. Just because they had a Junkrat, I think that being behind their team may not be the best. Just because he can easily punish you for where you were standing. But you get out alive. All is well. Yeah, I'm glad that you didn't stop on top of that building up there, just because you're wide in the open. And if they have a Widow, have a very bad time if you're that far out in the open. It's good checking back, checking flank, because you know that they're going to have potential flankers. Kind of like dropping down there because it makes you less in the open. And see, this is the big point. This is where our friend Genji here, divided, I believe, is going to be a huge nuisance for you. Because he's just realized that you're the problem and you're causing a lot of annoyance for them. So he's just gonna make sure that you can't do your job. That was a beautiful shot. That was a But yes, see, Divide is just making your life miserable. And in that situation, I think, yeah, I remember saying, I think it's about time to switch Pharah here, and I think you switch Pharah pretty. Their Genji's just making you not have fun anymore. And yeah, you're just, again, this is why offensive Widow is so good and defensive Widow is so very situational, because you can see that exact sight line where in this point, actually this is a great point to pause it, because you're in the open, like they have sight lines from here to you, they have sight lines from way over here to you, like you have just this massive sight line here they can see you from, and you don't have anything to hide from, whereas this Widow has a little door frame that they can hide behind, either pillar, door frame, or even the inside of the door frame. Like they kind of have cover to play behind and around. And it kind of forced you to play in a situation where you were relying on the Reinhardt, which the Reinhardt is going to have to drop his shield, and good Widow player, as you can see, just knows when it's going to drop and just gets the shots in. And I think this is kind of an issue, like your team isn't really terribly together. I don't know, Genji's way in the back line and doesn't have any business being there. Zarya went to save him, dies. Well, no, Mercy rezzed him. Zarya went to save the Mercy, and then most of them die here. Yeah, and then Mercy Valkyrie right in the middle of a team fight. Again, why Widow on defense here is it can be really good, but it can be really unfortunate, because here you do have, you're fairly open to an enemy Widow, because the Widow can kind of play behind cover here, play behind the cover here. I mean, if they hop up here, they're pretty open, but you really only have line of sight on the one side of the payload, which, and any time that I've seen Widows here, you just kind of tuck back behind the payload and crouch. Just push the payload for free. No Reinhardt shield needed. But I mean, that's where your team should be coming in and trying to push them out of there. Yeah, don't interrupt a Widow battle. Yeah. Again, yes. I agree as a Widow player as well. I agree that it's rude when Reinhardts interrupt them, but you know, you gotta expect people to be rude, man. Look at matchmaking. They're just so rude already. Expected. And see, Pharah here is really good, because Widow doesn't have that much for a sightline. And you can just go to town here. Especially if you can hide behind that corner. The Widow's going to be back, and yep. Nothing much you could have done there. It was just, they had the ults, they had the push.